Welcome to All Things Social Security. Enjoy your video. Good morning. Okay, so we're in December, heading quickly towards Christmas, but I am a little belated. I wanted to share with you what came out at the end of November, and it concerned the fiscal year update with Congress that the SSA provided at the end of November. So let's get to it. Just as a little kind of like gauge of where we're at with all the changes they've been making. We've had some prior reports on that. I think the last one might have been over the summer or so. Aside from maybe the COLA changes, I think we did a little ditty on that. So as you know, the end of the fiscal year is September 30th. So this came out 6 weeks later or something like that. And it goes to Congress. I'll just start reading little bits and pieces that seem important because there's little excerpts that are provided. And this is coming from a press release, okay? I'm not going through the whole letter with you. Anyway, the SSA states that in July, the SSA announced that they had completed sending over 3.1 million payments, totaling over $17 billion to beneficiaries that were eligible for that under the Social Security Fairness Act. SSFA, and that was 5 months ahead of schedule. As you may recall, at the end of 2024, a law was passed, signed in by President Biden, to take away the offset that would occur to government pension takers, collectors that receive pensions based on the work. They would also be allowed to take a Social Security benefit based on calculations that didn't reflect the fact that they didn't pay Social Security tax. So it was a weird thing. I don't think mathematically it works out right, but I knew it was politically about to happen. So it is what it is. And the people that benefited from it, I'm happy for them. I'm always happy for someone who benefits from something under the law when it's not completely over the top, inappropriate or anything. So while I think the numbers don't really add up right, and it is a double, it is a bit of a social benefit they're getting compared to the people that actually paid into Social Security the whole time. Nonetheless, that happened. And then the next administration was tasked with making the payments. The original administration that passed the law said, we'll have this done in about a year, and that would be the end of 2025. However, it happened much sooner probably because it was made a priority. And in the last year, the SSA has made it a mission or a priority, it appears, to put technology and the speed at which things can happen when you're not just and when you use the technology at hand to get those payments out. So that's pretty good. So this is the commissioner speaking in this letter. He states that when he was confirmed in early May of 2025, so that's even 5 months into the whole new administration, 4 months, he had learned that the SSA's online portal that we all use to collect our earnings statements. I'm always telling people, get your earnings statement, get it every year. You definitely want to get it if you plan on applying for either retirement or disability before you trigger the application, because at least with disability, you're not going to be able to get certain information. You will get your earnings. You're no longer going to get to see your estimates. In any event, he learned that apparently they had a whole system of the online portal had scheduled downtime of 29 hours a week. That's a lot. 29 hours a week. Unbelievable. How many days is that a week that they have scheduled downtime? And of course, that was leaving people without instant access to their benefit information. So he says, and I'll quote, as a result of the quick actions taken by my leadership team this past summer, Americans now have 24/7 access to their Social Security information online. He goes on to say that the growth in new account holders combined with their increased engagement on the value of doing business online enabled nearly 20% increase in online transactions in fiscal year 2025 compared to the prior year. So that's actually pretty big news there, 20% increase. And that is just when they're coming out the gate. So that's fabulous, being able to get things right online without having to go to the SSA, get on the phone, wait on hold for the SSA. But they get into a few more pieces of information below. Through the use of technology, he says, and proper allocation of resources, which is a good thing. We've been able to reduce the year-over-year average speed of answer from 28 minutes in fiscal year 2024 to 15 minutes in fiscal year 2025. So that's about cutting in half the wait time, it sounds like. The wait time or the time it takes to get an answer, I'm not sure. While serving 65% more callers than the previous year. So they split the time frame in half, while more than in half increasing the actual volume. In addition, he says nearly 90% of calls are now resolved via the self-service or convenient callback methods, and that Americans are frequently using these methods when contacting organizations in both the public and the private sector, which I think the point he's trying to make there is the private sector has been using these automated, you can call, press a few buttons, get the balance of your bank account, all those kind of things forever. Well, not forever, but for probably a decade or more, right? And the government systems are always so antiquated, slow, still using DOS, all that kind of business. And that it's about time the government is at least on par with the average savvy private sector business and the way they do things, so it's effective, so it saves money, because the money all comes from the taxpayers, right? So why not save them a little? In-office wait times are down almost 27% to 22 minutes from 30 minutes at the end of last year. So it was 30 minutes at the end of last year. I'm assuming he means the end of, he doesn't say end of fiscal, so that's September of 2024, or is he meaning December of 2024? It was 30 minutes. Now they're down to 22. So that's about a 30%. Well, he says 27% improvement. It says that visitors who had a scheduled appointment only waited around 6 minutes on average to receive assistance. So just to put that into perspective, if the average is 22, that means at least half the people are shorter than that. And that's why he's focusing on the ones that I guess get the better time frame. And he's referring then also to scheduled appointments versus, I guess, unscheduled appointments. Can't always get someone on, I don't know if they have, I don't think they have an online way to set an appointment. That would be nice. If you don't have to make a phone call, get a live body on there to make an in-person appointment, you can go in there and say, I need an in-person appointment. And then maybe give a little descriptive paragraph about what, give it limited space, let the person speak in a concise manner. That would be really helpful. Hint, hint, guys, if you're paying attention up above. This has been made possible, he says, with changes to the field office phone systems that's allowing for nearly 30% of calls to be handled instantaneously through technology, which then gives the human teams more time to focus on customers needing help in person. That is awesome. That is exactly what efficiency is about. I am glad to see it. I want to see more improvement. The disability claims backlog, he says, was at an all-time high, I guess, ever in June of 2024, with over 1.26 million pending claims. I'm glad to share that we have reduced the backlog this year by over 25%. So now it is at 865,000. So we're getting closer to 750,000 versus 1.2 million, a level that hasn't been seen since 2022. We also decreased the initial claim average processing time by 13% to 209 days, down from 240 days in January of 2025. And maintained historic lows of disability hearings pending, historic lows, with average wait times reduced by nearly 60 days since the last fiscal year. So that's good. All right, so that's just some little clips they shared. So I thought I'd share that to you. So much improvement we want to still see, right? So much, but that's probably the biggest jump in improvement we've probably ever had with the SSA. And how many decades has the SSA been around? So I am definitely appreciative of that as someone who wades in this pool 7 days a week. So it's all good. I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope you all have a Merry Christmas, regardless of what you celebrate. I wish you a Merry Christmas. Doesn't matter who you are or what you believe. It's my wish for you. So have a good one, guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.